Hi, welcome back to Inkwell Vermont. I'm Chris Kafar, your host. Good to have you with us. It occurred to me that after our last episode, you have in your pen stroke repertoire everything you need to write all your capital letters, all your lowercase letters. And this week, what I'd like to do is help you put it all together. One good way to do that is to do projects. So we're going to be doing envelope addressing today. I do want to remind you of one thing. The more you practice, because this is the point you're at, you've got your pen strokes, now it's a matter of practice. The more you practice and the more you practice, the better you'll get. It builds confidence. If you recall earlier in this series, I talked about pen strokes over and over and over to the point where you don't have to think about them. They're just automatically there. That's what you're building. You're building muscle memory. This repetition moves deeper in your brain and it makes it a lot easier. So, that being said, take a look at this. That's my letter F, okay? A letter S. It's fluid because I've done it probably thousands of times. Now, that's not bad. It's actually a lot of fun. I love doing this. And I do it all the time. How can I do this all the time? I use pens. One is Noodler's Ink Company out of Boston. Another is the Schaefer pen, and Pilot makes what's called a parallel pen. The Pilot pen and the Schaefer pen I won't be talking about today, but the Noodler's pen I will. In fact, I'm going to drop in a section of pre-recorded video about that pen specifically. What you're able to do is take that pen with you in your pocket. You'll be sitting anywhere, and you just start writing, and you practice your pen strokes. It's a refillable pen. It's fantastic. It's made in the US. I recommend it. So I'm going to drop that in, and then you're going to come back to me, and we're going to work on projects. Thanks. To help you with your practice, I brought in a couple pens. This first one is a fountain pen. It's what's called a flex pen. A lot of fountain pens were made this way back in, I guess, the 30s, 40s. The thing with this Noodler's pen is with weight, the line gets thicker, just like our dip pens. And what's nice about that is you can carry this around with you and practice anywhere. Okay, so the first project we're going to do is envelope addressing. When we first began the show today, I was practicing on some paper, and this happens to be Crane brand stationery, which is phenomenal paper. So we're going to use a Crane envelope for starters, and we'll probably use these two. What I did is I've already pre-lined it, and I pre-lined it using my Ames lettering guide. I showed this in, I believe, the first or the second episode. I used it with the 3-2-3 spacing that I've talked about before. I'll be doing a 3-line address. All right. So sometimes you can make it a lined page and slip it in the envelope, and if the paper's thin enough, you can see your own lines. But not today. All right, so I'm using black ink on cream-colored paper. There's good contrast. It's easy to read. By the way, I did the pencil lines in a hard pencil, so they're easier to erase. A soft pencil kind of gets mushy. Hard pencil, like an H, a 2H, a 4H, will be easier to erase. Anyway, I centered the lettering. The spacing is pretty equal between There are 4 lines here: the name, the street address, the city and state, and then the zip. I like using the full names for the address. In other words, write out the word avenue. In this case, write out the word road. Use the city name, use the full state name. Don't make things up. Folks in Atlanta might call it the ATL, but if you write ATL, a machine may be reading this letter when it goes through the post office. It doesn't know what ATL is. Use appropriate abbreviations if you're going to use them. So I pre-lined this red envelope. And one thing that's fun about darker envelopes is you can use lighter ink. Now, since Groundhog Day is coming up, well, actually Valentine's Day is coming up, but we all know Groundhog Day is very important. I'm using pink ink. The first line I start at the left, and each line subsequently I shift over to the right a little bit. I step it down because it's a nice way to compensate for line sizes, and it's not always easy to center justify. And left justification looks just weird. I like to write out the word street. I like to write out the state, the full name. You know, you're taking the time to actually write a letter, write a note. Go ahead and do it. I mean, it looks fantastic. Okay. Bob Ross, he would like this word street. He would add a little flourish here, which I'm going to do in a little bit. Okay, back to pen writing. The lines are equal in spacing and in letter height. And it's kind of a fun thing to do, to take your flourishes and blend them in and around the lettering, in this case capturing the zip code. So, with writing envelopes, cards, greeting cards, it can be a lot of fun. One thing that's fun too is, because I am a bit of an overachiever, I'm going to put a wax seal on it. This particular type of wax is intended to be lit and dripped upon the envelope. There are different types of waxes. One you can put into a hot glue gun, for instance. The seal itself I had made from a company called Nostalgic Impressions. It was my own design. They took it, they created the seal, and it turned out great. Now, how cool is that? Come on. So, you finish your envelopes, erase your pencil marks. They start looking really good. But why bother? Honestly, why bother writing? Well, when was the last time you got a letter in the mail instead of maybe a bunch of bills? It's exciting. It's fun getting these, even if you do nothing more than address a greeting card. It's just plain fun. Another reason is because of your brain and brain processing. If you remember ages ago, I said about the continuous motion or the repetition works deeper and deeper into your brain the more you do it. Well, that helps with hand-eye coordination and motor skills and with knowledge retention. If you were to take notes by hand versus on the computer, it would stick with you better. You'd have better notes typing on the computer, but you'd know more, remember more, because you wrote it by hand. Another good reason to do penmanship is because of joy. Yes, joy and joyness. Which brings me to our joke for the day. What do you call a mother cow after she's given birth to her baby cow? She's decaffeinated. There is a young girl, her name is Evie Mae. Evie Mae sent me a letter out of the blue. I know the family, they're nice people. I don't talk to this little girl much, but when she's around, I say hi and she's sweet. Why would she send me a letter? But she did. Well, it turns out there was a bed that I had made for a friend of my daughter's American Girl doll. Made this beautiful little bed as a present. Well, for their parents to give as a present. Well, Evie Mae bought that bed at a garage sale and made sure that they knew that I would be told that she would take care of the bed and that her dolls that would sleep in it would be very happy. So Evie Mae sends me a letter telling me about the bed and how happy her dolls are sleeping in it. That is rich. Okay, so that's it for today. I've given you envelope addressing, so grab a handful, send out greeting cards, have fun with them, play with the zip code, make sure that the post office can read them. It's not so fun getting them back. That does happen. And I will see you next time on Inkwell Vermont.